Yo, it's video number 4 of Multi-Bound Multiplier listens to multiple demos in his multiverse studio. Yeah, let's carry on listening. We've had some cool tracks so far. Only one email didn't work, which is kind of a good ratio. But yeah, let's carry on listening. Hopefully we can provide some useful comments, even if they're not your genres or not your track. Hopefully you get some useful bits of wisdom from the Wisdomous Multiplier. So next track to listen to is this one from Nick Wetherill, Night's Dance. The song kicks in around the 1 minute mark. That's about normal. Route 50. Let's give it a click. It looks like it's dubstep, but the waveform doesn't look that dubstep-y. Let's find out. There's a little cat. Yeah. Sounds more like drum and bass.
Last night at 03 hours plus 13, I made an emergency landing in a spaceship from another galaxy. That so-called artichoke, it's from my craft.
But you're a cat.
Granted. Civilization, that's as far as we needed to evolve. We developed our brain to a fine point. Now man, on the other hand, grows off his 4 legs and develops tools, machinery, agriculture. We develop tools for the mind. This collar here, it amplifies brain power.
I dropped to the wrong point. So that's quite cool. That's a weird one, man. That's cool. It's kind of... It's a lot of really good. Like, I really like... It's really disjointed. It's not quite releasable or anything, but it's a really, really nice idea. I like how you've got this bit. Wait.
It does what?
I like kind of that transition from that sound, and then the way you kind of use that kind of orchestral sort of sounds. It's kind of nice, and you've actually got some nice kind of dubstep rhythm and vibe kind of happening for this section. See, there's like moments when it's really, really good. Other moments, the rhythm kind of falls apart to me, but there's some really, really, really good moments in that kind of musically, which is cool. And the drums hit where they should do. There's definitely a few things to work on. Things like it drops at the wrong point. So if you're going to have like this, like say it looks like it's maybe a 2-bar fill before the drop. So this guy.
It does what?
If you're going to have that, it's like a pre-drop fill. It's got to be pre-drop. So in terms of your kind of phrasing, the actual first downbeat of the kick, when it actually like hits, that should start on say bar 33. It shouldn't start at say bar 37 or bar 36 or bar 35. It should happen at bar 33. And what you would have to do is take out, if that's say 2 bars, and it might be 2 bars maybe, that kind of little empty bit, almost like a sample, that 2 bars should happen before the start of the next 32 bar section. That should be taken out of the build, basically. If that doesn't make sense, analyze tracks you like, and in terms of the bars, look at it on a grid and count or do whatever else you need to do to see why that kind of makes sense. Because it kind of drops at the wrong point. Also, this intro just sounds a bit disjointed. It sounds like it's from a different track. Like this drop is really, really cool. It's got some nice musical ideas in it. But that intro doesn't really sound like it's part of the same track. Like that sample is a nice use of the sample and everything as well. But yeah, especially those kind of synth things at the beginning sounded like a different track. So don't think they really add to it. Also, production-wise, it doesn't really look mastered at all. Yeah, production wise, bits are way too quiet. So really just work on, I don't know how long you've been producing or anything. It's hard to really give too much feedback without knowing how long people have been producing as well, by the way. Because if someone's been producing 2 months, then details like the mixing stuff that I'd expect to be better on this track wouldn't be relevant because you've only been doing it 2 or 3 months. If they've been producing 3 years, I'd expect some of the mixing things to be a little bit more on point. Stuff like the vocal samples are really quiet. The drums in that intro bit as well just aren't really there. They really need to be made a lot better. But yeah, I'd say definitely stuff to work on, but you got, I'd say really, like in that video I did recently where I said focus on, or like the songwriting tip where I said focus on the idea and build it up around that. For me, at least, the cool idea of this track is, I mean, you've got that cool sample in it, which is a nice idea. It's a nice sample. But the really, really interesting idea is the way you kind of transitioned this idea and then used it like in the drop section. So this kind of 8-second bit here, like this bit.
It does what?
That bit is what you should build up the whole track around. Naturally, you can't just loop that for like 4 minutes, but in terms of how you write the song, that's the best bit for me. So I would focus on that and just kind of make everything else kind of complement that, basically. That's what I think anyway. It's just the multiplier opinion anyway, but yeah, that's cool. Let's listen to something else. We have Mitchell Crump. It's a track he gone and done did. Oh, can't find it. There you go. Not listening to that. Matt Sands. Did I master these? I might have mastered these. Got a bad memory, I have. I think I did master this. One thing I really think this track could do with is that kind of bass sound that kind of works with that kick. It's really dominant throughout the whole track. I think it needs to, just maybe it's just me, it doesn't really do anything for me. So I'd focus on getting that kick bass relationship working a little bit nicer and make it a bit more kind of musically and functionally exciting. Really, really nice vocal though. Some nice little bits in the track, but yeah, I'd really start with that kick and that bass. Because it just sounds a little bit kind of unexciting, that bass sort of sound, this one here. So that's what I'd work on. Yeah, it's cool. Moggy Wah Wah by the list of things. Let's listen to someone else. So we have John Rivet, something like that. Let's have a listen, see what's going on. Kill the Monster, You and I Will Be Forever preview. Let's listen. It's progressive house, apparently. They sound a little bit too spaced apart. It's a nice idea though, but just a little bit too far apart, those little noises. Or we need something else to kind of bring you through this section. It's got to be a good 50 seconds long, maybe 55 seconds long. So yeah, it needs something more to bring us through it, basically. I mean, this bit's nicer. It's kind of brings you through. You should have just started that effect earlier, I think. Yeah, that needs more transitioning elements, I think, to really bring you through it. Yeah, it needs more. It looks really, really long before the drop happens. I think it needs more something to kind of keep me interested as it's taking me through. You can have really long kind of sections without drums or whatever. That's not an issue there. It's just you need enough changing or enough to sustain you through it. That's going to be the main bit of advice. I'd say analyze some of the deadmau5's longer tracks, like I don't know, I guess Strobe, for example. Just one of the, because deadmau5 is really, really good at having like simple ideas. Like this is quite a simple idea, kind of really stretching it out. But there's a lot of really subtlety in terms of how he keeps you interested throughout that. And it can be things like the times this feels like it needs a lot, like some more maybe long tail reverb, just so that kind of plinky plonky idea just kind of keeps ringing through, even if it's quite quiet and quite subtle, just so it keeps you into that idea before the next little plinky plonky thing happens. Whereas at times it feels like it's like plinky plonky and then the track stops and it starts again, instead of having it plinky plonky and then having it fade in and then it starts a little bit more, and it's just getting that all that kind of subtlety in there. And yeah, and there's a lot of subtlety and variation in when you're doing simple ideas. You've got to still have all that change kind of happening, but it's got to be really subtle, whether or not that's really minor variations in the synth sound. Analog's great for that, or just programming in the variations yourself, or using a VST that just has loads of variations. I don't really know, but yeah, just needs to do that really. That's what I'd say, work on all the kind of subtleties. It's also hard to say if preview means it's unfinished or not, or whether it's just a bit of the track. Maybe it's an unfinished track. Looking at the length, when I see preview, what I expect is like a minute and a half or 30 seconds of a longer track. But looking at this, that's like 9 minutes 30. So chances are I misinterpreted what preview meant, which means it's actually probably unfinished. Which brings us back to another comment I did in a previous video, which is it's hard to really comment because everything I just said might not have applied because maybe you were going to do this anyway. So I'd say don't post work in progresses unless you're like Skrillex or something, or deadmau5, because then you're in a whole different game. But yeah, cool. There you go. It's been video 4. How many more emails we've got to go through? Lots by the looks of things. We've done maybe like 12 or something. Let's do some more. I don't know how many videos we're gonna do. I'm gonna keep doing it until I get so hungry I can no longer continue. Look at that for dedication. So yeah, cool. But multiplier video 4. Kaplow!